What it do, KTTeeV? This is KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of the Daily K Podcast. And on today's episode, we have the director and founder of Target Evolution, Miss Crystal Victoria. How you doing today, Miss Victoria?
Well, thanks for asking, and thanks for having me.
Yes, I want to say thank you for taking some time out. I know the work is important, and with importance comes a lot of work. So I know you're pretty busy, so thank you for taking a few minutes today.
Sure. Absolutely.
So before I get started, I always like to do a wellness check. So how have you been doing during the pandemic and with everything that's going on?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm more affected by those who aren't.
That's a good answer. I understand totally about that. Hey, because it says we're not well until we're all well.
Yeah.
So I understand totally what you mean. So as we get into things, can you give me a little bit of background about you? Because as we talk about the entrepreneur program, I know that only comes from the heart of a true entrepreneur. And so if you could just give me a little background of how you got to Target Evolution.
Sure. So just as you said, the work that I do comes from the heart of an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm a hustler, babe. It just
Hey.
I've been an entrepreneur essentially since I was a kid. Unfortunately, there was no Target Evolution. There was no Teen Biz Camp available, and there were very few mentors and resources that I had to guide me in that direction. Which actually, I'll take that back. There were resources. I just didn't know to ask for them, right? I didn't really understand how those resources worked and what those resources, I didn't even understand. So I didn't even know what entrepreneurship was. I didn't know what it even meant. I didn't even really understand that I was one until I was in my 20s. And I literally was punished for a lot of my entrepreneurial behaviors.
Yes.
Sometimes because they weren't always, on the up and up, but I was a kid. I was learning. I didn't have access to people who knew, and not from where I was from and people that looked like me. We weren't running around preaching entrepreneurship back then. And I'm not very old, for the record, not very old at all. So, it was during a time, that I was an entrepreneur during a time where that wasn't the thing to do. And oftentimes I was criticized and really, really, really endured a lot emotionally because I was a creative hustler. I mean, I could always figure out a way to get some money. And that was just a natural ability. And it was considered scheming and manipulative and blah, blah, blah. And that's not what entrepreneurship is. But when you don't guide it correctly, it can very easily go there.
Yeah.
And so, when it's left unchecked, if you will, then things like that as a result, because the skill is the skill. All right. And how you use that is up to the individual, and that defines who you are. But understand your gifts can be used however you choose. Okay. Yes. And so from that perspective, until I started understanding, okay, whoa, I'm going in the wrong direction. This is not the right way to do things. How do I do this right? Because I've got to be on to something with these skills. I know how to market. I know how to, I knew how to, create a profit and really just understood some of the basics. And like I said, just didn't have any guidance. Went through school. I had 4 revenue streams in high school, and I always worked a job. My mom worked for the same company for 25 years, had a great family, great mother anyway. My father passed when I was very young, but that being said, my mom had a great job. But she always struggled. We always struggled. And I was like, if there was just more money, how do we get more money? Now, mind you, at the same time, my grandmother's a maid for a very, 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 very wealthy family, and who was entrepreneurs, and I didn't know that either. And I'd asked, okay, well, how did they get this? We got $1 million houses and stuff, maids and butlers. Like, Granny, what do they do? And no one in my family could really answer that question for me. I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. I'm still the only entrepreneur in my family. And so, like I said, from that standpoint, coupled with I had skills, I made a lot of bad decisions. All right. And ended up a lot of places that some people don't want to go. And once I got to my early 20s, like the age of 20, I was like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work. How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And then now that I know that I am a business owner, I'm business minded, or I'm entrepreneurial, how do I make sure kids that look like me do not make these mistakes
Hmm.
and they have a cleaner path forward? And that was when my work began with Target Evolution. But essentially, I've had a couple other businesses. My first business actually was in my early 20s. Me and my best friend had a coffee shop kiosk
Okay.
in her college campus. We went from there into a business brokerage firm where we matched people that were buying businesses with people that were selling them, negotiated the good deals to close. We actually managed and had over millions of dollars of businesses in our portfolio.
Hmm.
And we did pretty well financially. That was hard money to make. By
Yeah.
that being said, that was the hardest job I'd ever done. But a lot of what the issues and the challenges were with people that were exiting their business, either
Hmm.
selling, mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, the issues lied with the fact that they hadn't structured the business correctly in the first place.
Hmm.
And so, again, then I had my professional experience that led me right back to that same issue. Like,
Yes.
now, if more people knew at the beginning how to set this up,
Mm.
then exiting would be so much easier. You could really, really have a business that could potentially prepare you for retirement, that can financially create a legacy and generational wealth for your family. More people need to understand how that business needs to look when it exits, and how to set everything up and keep
Hmm.
everything set up correctly. But
Yes.
again, I didn't have the patience to work with adults,
Yeah.
and and I felt at this time I was so very young. So I had literally, I mean, we're talking about stuff I was doing in my early 20s. I was 25, 26
Hmm.
when my first book came out.
Yeah.
By the time I was 27, I was making over six figures,
Hmm.
and I had just got to a point again where I realized that kids needed this, kids that look like me. Now, although I had made all these mistakes, straightened it up, gone back right, made tons of money legally now.
Hmm.
And with these same skills that
Yes.
I was once punished for, okay, how do I take this back? And how do I help engage our kids and make sure our
Mm.
kids are prepared for this?
Yeah.
And doing so led me to Target Evolution. So this was
Man.
my fourth business. And
Okay.
as you can tell, I'm very passionate about what I do. I love every
Yeah.
minute of it. I love more or less the potential that this next generation has when it talks about leadership and creation and innovation and all those amazing things. Of course, yeah, they have their challenges, but they are just raised with access to so much information and opportunity that we
Yeah.
didn't have. And
Yes.
if they have all of the resources and the knowledge and the skills to take advantage of that, they will do so many amazing things. And so we seek to be on the forefront of that innovation,
Hmm. Yeah.
and also helping to provide that opportunity for them.
Hmm. Wow. I think about what you're saying about just the resources and understanding those um, resources, because I tell the story all the time to my students at school. I didn't learn about college until maybe like March. And it's like I didn't know about that, because of my area and the background. So it's like, okay, now I know. And then it's a hustle and bustle to get there. But
Right.
I think about even earlier, as you think about it, we owned the neighborhood candy store.
Mhm.
So then I'm at school and kids need paper, kids need things like that. My grandma stay across the street. My teacher used to let me leave school, and go get the paper and stuff, bring it back, and the kids would pay me for it. So the entrepreneur is there early.
Yeah.
And so as you look to help the kids, we focusing on students that look like us in impoverished areas. That's how the work with HCC came about.
Hmm.
But even before that was you starting the biz camp.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so,
So
mhm.
yeah, we started Team Biz Camp started in Dallas, and it was online originally, and people swore they didn't know what we did. So, mind you, how ironic I thought this whole situation was during the beginning of the pandemic when we had to switch everything online. Because I'm like, so you mean to tell me we have to go back to how we first started? Oh, how
Literally evolution.
interesting. Oh, how interesting.
Yeah.
Really? So we're prepared for that because we've been
Yes.
doing that all along.
You know.
Uh, and nobody paid me any attention. That being said, it didn't become popular until we started doing an on-site summer camp, which launched in Dallas, engaged the entire Dallas community. We did every entrepreneur that I could find every startup community resource we could find, we tapped in that first summer camp. And it was a doozy to put together. We had over 40 speakers like that first summer over a 10-week time period that were teaching these kids about entrepreneurship and business and helping them get started. But they also learned how to do their pitch. And what was so fun about it, it was just a massive experiential learning environment, which is still our methodology today. And what makes our program work and how we measure our results. But yeah, it's a collaborative, youth-centered community engagement strategy. And that's a long title, but that's exactly what we do. And you know, we have a very unique methodology. But essentially we started in Dallas. And when we expanded to Houston in 2017, we partnered with HCC. And well, actually we partnered with HCC in 2018. Wait, last year was 2019. Last year.
Yes.
19.
Yes.
Jesus,
Okay.
I'm
Hey, this all been one. It's still like continuation.
It's a whirlwind. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Yes, so, 2020 hasn't started yet.
No, right, and I'm just so lost. So, anywho, we got that partnership, and then we grew exponentially, and so now we are in 4 cities or 5 cities across 2 states, Texas and California. We're opening Georgia, and we have a rollout of about 10 other cities that will be opening up in the next few weeks, a couple of months actually. But we are opening another one of our stores, our Trailblaze stores for young entrepreneurs. Will be opening in Dallas here in the next maybe 30 to 45 days. It should have been open. We're just on hold because of the pandemic.
Yes.
And we have the store here in Houston at Memorial City Mall from Galleria.
Yes.
So yeah, we've got a great partnership with HCC. We have lots of partnerships. We're in partnership with the Greater Houston Black Chamber, with Workforce Solutions, partnered with Mayor's Youth Workforce Council and Hire Houston Youth.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got great partnerships.
And when I first hooked up with you, and it was Miss Valaire, I want to say you all were doing the ribbon cutting for the Galleria.
Yeah.
And so I know you all were working out that store. And how does the store work? So is it a pop-up, or is it like that's just now, this is my store? How does that work? And then what benefit do the kids get out of it?
So the store, so what we did when the entire idea came up, and it came in November, literally was an opportunity that fell in my lap from the Galleria. Thank God every day for Brooke, who is the CEO of the pop-up shops at Galleria. I just walked in there and just ran an idea by her. She says, this would be great for that. We have a whole section, and I love it. She said, I'll give you a good rate on this. I said, well, let's do it. Really didn't know how to do this, because we're talking about, this is the end of the year. The budget's exhausted. There's no budget. This is not in the plan. The board was not happy. The board was like, wait, and it was Sharika that said, Crystal, I think we should do this.
Yes.
We're going to do this. Let's figure this out. And we got out there and raised money from corporate sponsors, small businesses, in a week, and got the money to get our first store. And the concept of it is how it works essentially is, and when it was in the gallery, so we were part of a larger coalition pop-ups. Stores. And so these are just entrepreneurs in the local community that literally rent space inside of a store and are able to, garner traction from the mall and slowly build to the point they can afford their own kiosk or inline store inside of the mall. A lot of people don't know to have a store in the mall is ridiculously expensive, especially the malls that we have stores in.
Yeah, I was saying, especially Galleria.
The Galleria is the largest and most expensive mall in the state of Texas.
Yes.
And so when you talk about, it's a tourist attraction. So Kanye and Kim were in there right before we opened. I was like, oh my God, we missed the Kardashians. Not that I was trying to see them, but
but people there.
Come see these kids, right?
Yeah.
So so our kids get to basically run and operate the store. The store has a manager. We actually are, like I said, we're no longer in the Galleria at this moment. We actually will be back. What happened was, once we got on the news, we got the attention of the assistant manager at Memorial City Mall. And
Mm.
she said, come over here. We want
Yes.
y'all. And
Yes.
so she's like, we'll give you, your own section in the middle of the mall. And so we were like, should we stay inside of this store or should we
Inside.
go ahead and launch our own store and be in the aisleway?
Yeah.
And so we decided to go for it and got our own store this year. So I now have all of our stores are owned and operated by us. We have a
Yes.
store manager that's in there right now selling all of our little darling kid stuff. Her name is Amy
Mm.
Miller. Amy
Mhm.
is incredible. We actually snatched Amy from the top.
Hey.
So when we left, we took her store manager with us.
Hey. Hey.
That wasn't
Hey.
that malicious, but it wasn't that malicious. Like I said, it was more or less an agreement. Like we asked her, Amy, and said, "Hey, I told her I don't have the experience to run a store. That is nowhere in my plans,
Mhm.
nor was that in my expertise." I said, "I don't know how we're gonna do this, but the kids love it." And the kids make 90% of the proceeds. So our kids on average in the store, they before this pandemic, our students were making an average $3,000 to $1,000 a
Wow.
month, somewhere between there
Hmm.
every month.
And what's the
Our
ages?
first 12 to 19th. Our
Okay.
first month the store was open in Galleria Mall. We made like almost $10,000
Wow.
the
That's
first the first month in December. And again, for us, for the kids, all that money went to the kids. Like,
hmm
there was some money kept for taxes and marketing, but
hmm
that was their money.
Yes.
And, you've got to look at the economic impact of that, which is what then set us apart and made us the number one program,
hmm
because not only are we teaching these kids entrepreneurship,
Yes.
we have a mechanism for them to actually make money as an entrepreneur, to see if their business works and build it and grow it and
hmm
stimulate the economy and create jobs and
hmm
create solutions
Yes.
and inspire the next generation
Yes.
all at one time.
Money management
And
included.
all of the things that the impact that comes from our organization, like I said, we were awarded our federal contract largely because of the uniqueness of us adding the store and keeping it.
Hmm.
It was like at first the idea of getting the store was like, I don't know about that, but once you see it and once we got in there and we
Hmm.
started seeing the response from kids that would light up when they'd come in, another kid is taking their stuff off the shelf,
Hmm.
showing this little 5-year-old lip gloss, and you can see them looking up at these. They're like, she's not that much younger than me. Older than me. It was such a beautiful experience, but the exchange of it. So it was so much. It was so much in it.
Hmm.
I hate that COVID is right now
Yeah.
affecting our plans, because I said
Hmm.
right now the only people that's in our store right now is staff. Now I
Yeah.
don't like the kids in our store for health
Yes.
reasons.
Hmm.
Some of them still are trying to be hard headed and come
Hmm.
anyway.
Yeah. They say, look, I got to see my money now. I need to see my
We have
money.
full COVID safety plans,
Yes.
PPE equipment. I've bought hundreds of dollars of vitamins and stuff from GNC, immune
Yes.
system boosters and sanitizers. And there's a whole plan in place, whole
Yes.
COVID safety plan in place if they
Mm.
do show up. But
Okay.
I personally prefer them to sit at home until we're
Yes.
ready, But that being said, the store has been nothing but a blessing. It's a very
Mm.
expensive program to run, but
Yeah.
we adore it.
Hmm.
And it's more or less there for the kids to make money, to
Yes.
more understand about who their market is,
Hmm.
to actually gain traction
Hmm.
and earn money with their business, and see if the model works. And if it doesn't, it's even an opportunity for them to pivot to something that does work.
Yes.
In the mall, when you're dealing with mall traffic, we learned this in the Galleria. I mean, the kids got a harsh lesson, reality checks.
Hmm.
I do not shelter these kids. None of our program. Part of the reason that we are an experiential learning environment is because there's no filters on this
Hmm.
program. It is
Yes.
hard. It is hard as real life, and it gives them the opportunity to really understand the raw emotional skills
Yes.
that need to go into entrepreneurship. A lot of times we teach the technical and we forget the emotional part that's got a component that steps in, and it steps in in the middle of the experience when you are beyond the business plan and the business is operating
Hmm.
in the heat of the moment, when things are falling apart, when
Hmm.
there's an angry customer, when something's just not working, when bills are due and there's no money.
Hmm.
That is the skill, and that's where people sink or swim. And even
Yes.
that is a skill that has to be taught. And they
Mm.
have to, and the only way to teach it is to put kids in an experience that's
Yes.
Pressure in a pressure cooker. So
Yes.
you, the mall is a pressure cooker. Our teen biz camp is a pressure cooker. We teach them how to pitch one day and then kick them out in the community. We used to,
Mm.
when it was safe, and they got chaperoned, and they literally had to go in and out of small businesses and try to meet the entrepreneur, and get sponsors for their business. Our kids
Mm.
fundraise right. They're fundraising right now on Mighty Cause. They've
Yes.
earned the money they need to participate in this program.
Wow.
They actually
Wow.
fund this themselves.
Yeah.
Their parents pay a little bit to reserve their fees, and then we
Hmm.
tell parents, stop. We don't want any more of your money. If they
Yeah.
want to stay, then they're going to earn their keep.
They're gonna
And these
earn their
kids
keep.
work hard from day one to the end.
Hmm.
We have had a DreamWorks program where they have all had staff.
Hmm.
They each had a staff of 2 that was other teens. So the teens got to work with teen entrepreneurs
Yeah.
and got paid $50 a week. And so we did a pilot test with 3 of our kids just to see if they liked it. And so they were real
Hmm.
CEOs. They had staff. I think they have stores. They have products. These kids are making money. And
Wow.
so and and we got to expose them to a new experience. So that's what we are about. Like
Yeah.
I said, we have created an incredible program. It's a
Hmm.
year long, essentially, that includes the pop-up shop. It
Hmm.
includes multiple experiential learning environments, and programs within the entire 1 year program, different experiences that they'll do, workshops.
Hmm.
And by the end, they have made money. They've gotten college credit, and they have computers. They have an established brand. A lot of our kids have been on the news.
Hmm.
This news stays chasing our babies, and that's not
That's
intentional.
good though.
Like, we're not promising people that, but we
Hmm.
know they're watching.
Yes.
But it's more or less for the parents. We have an
Yeah.
incredible network of parents.
Hmm.
Miss Valera, actually, Sharika,
Hmm.
not only is she, an entrepreneur herself, and has Bryce Everhart is the mother of
Yes.
Bryce Everhart, who is an incredible kid entrepreneur, and
Hmm.
she's raised and taught him everything. She herself is an incredible entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and she has taken on the role of being our program director for Target
Yes.
Evolution. So she
Hmm.
works with us and
Hmm.
for us, and she's actually creating a Parents Empower program,
Hmm.
that
Yes.
is more or less providing the more support and resources to the parents,
Yes.
because the parents have been, they literally keep their kids going. We always tell people we're not responsible for success or failure. We've had over 500 students, and
Mm.
we see there's about 40 of them that are constantly doing stuff, but only about 15 of them are like constantly out there.
Yes.
People are always getting them for stuff.
Hmm.
And like I said, that just gives you the ratio. About 20% of our kids
Hmm.
go on to be extremely successful.
Yeah.
I actually was the coach that taught Tyler Simone Creighton how to
Hmm.
pitch. And for those that don't know, she has raised $245,000 in the
Wow.
last 12 months.
Yes.
She is now CEO of $1 million company, and I am crunk
Wow.
because I got the opportunity to teach her, and I'm just like, wow. But she took what I taught her to another
Yes.
level. That girl she's just incredible. And then she's got an awesome mom. Again, the involvement of our parents, the
Mhm.
involvement of parents in the most successful students is key.
And that's what I was going to ask. So you got the programs going now. So there's 2 programs, and is this where the programs start, or is the summer camp different from the other program with the pop-up shop and all?
Yeah, so you have to start in the summer camp.
Okay.
In the teen biz camp, and it's not in the
Yes.
summer. Our teen biz camp is 3 times a year. We have
Okay.
fall, spring, and summer.
Okay.
And now that it's online, we are considering doing it more often, but we're not sold on it yet. So
Hmm.
that's not the model now. But it's fall, spring, and summer. It pretty much falls with the school year.
Okay. And
Coincides with the school. We're an after school and summer youth entrepreneurship
mm,
program. And so 3 times a year, you start at Teen Biz Camp. Once you finish Teen Biz Camp, you can do everything else. You can be in the store. You can be, in our Dream Work program where you have staff. You'll get the rest of the alumni program resources. Our kids are with us long beyond their year.
mhm.
I literally I'm watching kids graduate from high school and almost graduate from college now, and I'm starting to feel real old, by the way. No
Yes.
one told me that I was still
Man.
like this as a teacher, but this is
Yes. That's
the
it.
old. We've been in operation over 10 years, almost 10 years now.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to the next 10. We set out our 10-year strategic plan at the
Hmm.
beginning of this year, and There's a lot of things that we're going to do this next decade. I'm really
Yes.
excited about. And now I'll be making a transition.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I'll be going on to chairman of the board, and then
Yes.
somebody else will be taking my spot as executive director. Hopefully,
Hey.
one of our
Oh,
students.
yes. That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
it's gonna be cool to
Mhm.
watch what happens, but also the success of our kids.
Yes. So then, now with everything you have going on, and targeting the demographic that you do, we got a lot going on with the news, a lot going on with our culture, our community,
Right.
and so as you talk to those kids, how do you prepare yourself to handle those questions that come up? With business questions or but also with life questions and what they see.
Be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's again, we're not a program, we don't sugarcoat anything. What was interesting, so the first year that we did what was called the litmus test.
Mm-hmm.
The litmus test is when, what we do is they go through a couple of days, the first couple of days in the camp, they learn about pitching and networking, how to network, how to do an elevator pitch, introduce yourself and get used to meeting people
Mm-hmm.
and building relationships. And then we, again, like I said, they're kicked out in the community in downtown. We take them to downtown Dallas, and everybody is put in groups with a chaperone, and they literally go in and out of small businesses. And all in downtown, they walk around all day. For the actual 2 days of this, where they walk around and they're just meeting business owners. They have to go in and attempt to connect with the business owners. Our first year doing that, people thought I was crazy because I said I want to do it. First of all, they're like, I don't know if that's gonna work. I said, look, are we teaching entrepreneurship or what? Because I don't
Yes.
know no entrepreneur, I don't know no business that operates without this.
Mm.
So I think this is the skill that everybody's overlooking. Soft
Yes.
skills nowadays for these kids is
Mm-hmm.
crucial.
Yes.
They walk around on the phone all day online. If you don't say nothing to them, they'll be
Yeah.
doing this, just walking around, just and so getting them to make eye contact and
Mm-hmm.
learn how to just communicate,
Yes.
again, is critical to them having a business, right? They don't just come naturally optimistic and outgoing, or even I would say with the extrovert personality. Sometimes we got to teach it. The best way to do that is to put them in the environment so that they learn, because
Yes.
we could have in a classroom and they'll be like, yeah, I got it, but nothing says I got it like going out and being actually
Doing it.
experienced and us sitting back and watching you and do it enough of times, and now we can say you got it. All
Yes.
right.
Learn by doing.
It's also humbling too, because they realize how much they don't got it when they out in the
Yes.
community meeting people, and they get nervous. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but also during those times, I said all that to say, during those times, our first year doing this, we experienced some racial issues.
Yeah.
In one of the establishments we went in, was treated extremely rude. And although, we are interrupting a business owner's day that isn't
Mm-hmm.
expecting us,
Mm-hmm.
we could be anybody,
Yeah.
they could be adults. People do it all the time, and that being said, we made sure that the kids' conversation was short,
Mm-hmm.
to the point. They're not there to sit up and ask you 5 million questions. And they have a whole script. They know exactly what to say. They're very well
Mm-hmm.
prepared. And no one they weren't rude to anybody. Somebody just complained about them being in the environment. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
now what's interesting is they wouldn't have done that with Girl Scouts. They wouldn't
Yeah.
have done that with any other groups of kids. I think, and I don't think, what we know for sure is that it was definitely a racial issue. And
Mm-hmm.
they saw it. We felt it. I'm glad there were other parents there. We literally were banned from a building, which was interesting. But that being said, it's all good.
Yeah.
But those things happen, and
Yes.
that's reality.
Yes.
And although I wanted to come completely out of character and unglued, I couldn't. They even had to see a proper response to the situation. And although they still don't all the way understand, and of course it's not fair, one of the things that we all know as adults, life is not fair.
Yes.
It's not. And so as much as we would like it to be, and we tell you to treat people fairly because you should be fair, but you cannot have that high of an expectation in return every time.
Sad.
I think that is how we prepare them. But brutal honesty,
Yeah. I understand.
transparency.
Yes. Now, as we get ready to wrap it up, I try to leave with something inspiring for the kids, and what better way for the kids and adults, rather. So, we got somebody right now watching this, and they are thinking about entrepreneurship. What words would you give them to say get off their couch and get started? Today is the day.
What words would I give them? What words would I give them? Well, I think I would, you know, say there's a lot of things I would say, but I'm just
Yes.
trying to think of what in particular.
Yeah. That sweet spot.
I mean, you got one life. You only have one life,
Mm.
give it a try. My personal favorite is the sky is not the limit because there are footprints on the moon.
Mm.
So, um, that's my motto. But more importantly, I think that right now is the time. If you were going to try being an entrepreneur, there's no time like right now. Everything is convenient. Everything is simple. It is not hard to get started. It just requires your time.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to put the time in, then I promise you, you'll get stuff done and you'll probably make some money.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? I'm almost guarantee how much I don't know. That's all a matter of how much time and energy you invest.
Mm-hmm.
But just on some, I mean, you can bear energy right now. Internet right now, online businesses. There is so many things and ways to make money right now. It doesn't make no sense for anybody to be broke. But I understand that we're not all exposed to the opportunities and resources equally.
Yes.
Some of that requires training, which again is why Target Evolution is in place. But
yes.
There is no time like right now. If you keep waiting, you're gonna miss the moment.
Right
now there's so much money floating around because of pandemic.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a time of COVID is literally just gonna lead to a time of massive creativity and innovation. And like never before. And I'm here for it because look, I could do so much more from home. Like I was driving before this. I literally, for the last 2 years, I have driven 500 miles a week. So 500 to 700 miles a week between cities, helping to manage multiple programs that were on-site camps that we were having.
Yeah.
And I'm telling, and the reason I drove is because it didn't make sense to fly. It's nothing's fired. Everything is technically too close to fly consistently and too far to drive actually, but which was got made for some it's very uncomfortable doing that. Okay. And that's the level of effort that I put in, like I said, 2 years in a row. So for me to get to just hard stop and no travel, this is the longest I've ever sat in Houston consecutively and just in my house and not done anything. And I'm loving every minute of it. But this COVID, this is giving us all time. Never in history have we had a time to just sit and pause and stop and think clearly and really, really get an idea of what our next, get very clear on what our next steps are going to be. Get quiet and really, really allow ourselves to be led by whatever we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now is the time. We lost jobs. Everybody needs a mask. I mean, there's this mask is now in the industry. Like, like I need you to understand PPE is now a major business. All right. I have kids. I have masks. The kids that have made masks selling out at my store right now. While I'm on this call, there's a mask selling at my store. So, and I'm not kidding. So I'm just saying, like, there's so many things you can do. Just get started, but start small. Follow your heart, but take your brain with you. All right. I know we all have extravagant ideas, but connect with those programs that are going to help you start small. Take baby steps. Sometimes we don't do anything because the idea is so big. We don't know where to start. And I always tell start small. What is the minimum viable product? If you cannot produce an entire beverage, maybe you have an idea for a new beverage. Maybe you have an idea for the next cool technology, but you don't have no money. All right. Joe, start small. What is the next best thing you can create? If you want to create a beverage, sell a cup. All right. You can get a cup designed with your brand on it and logo for $5 right now on Vistaprint. Get you a cup, put your logo on it, get to selling it, tell the story, and with every cup and sell them till you put enough money up to go invest in engineering your beverage. You can always get started. Ain't no excuses now. All of those are gone. It's just about what you're going to do. All right. And our kids do that every day. They got grand ideas, but they have a product because of what I just said. They are kids.
Yes.
And something I know about kids is they will start a business doing one thing today, and in a week, when they see little Jerry selling this and making more money, they're gonna change trying to do what little Jerry doing. All right.
Yeah.
And until they're adults, and they can change as many times as they want to, because
Find
they
your
haven't
niche.
done anything that's extravagant that is required for us to go put together all this complicated craziness to get their products designed. Nope. Start small. Just get to your first dollar. I just want you to make money. I want you to
Yes.
learn how to sell. If you learn how to sell, you can start any business you want to. I don't care what it is.
Yes.
And I mean
All right.
any business you want to. So
Yeah.
those are my wise words of advice, my knowledge nuggets dropped.
Man, great ones.
Thank you
Thank you.
again. I appreciate this. I get carried away and long-winded. I could talk all day.
It's all good. So now, if I want to be a part of the Team Biz, Target Evolution Life, the HTC Life, everything that you do, life, and get in contact with you, how do I go about doing that?
So visit our website, www.teen, as in teenager, TEEN, biz, BIZ, camp.com. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and everything is Team Biz. We are hashtag Team Biz everywhere. I own the intellectual property. So there's not another Team Biz in the world. We are the only program with a store in the mall, Trailblaze. So if you go to Memorial City Mall, you can also catch up with us. Our store manager is there. You can sign up for Team Biz Camp at our store at Memorial City Mall. We're in the Dillard's wing. Wear a mask up once you go. Protect yourself. But you can go to the mall and check us out too. Memorial City. I believe the address is 303 Memorial City Way. And again, in the Dillard's wing of the mall. So walk in, go over by Dillard's, and then that wing, we're across from New York and Company and Visible Changes Hair Salon. Right in there.
Just say thank you for that time again today, Miss Victoria.
Sure.
All right. This is KT for KTTeeV signing out. 100.